Max Cloud might be a satirical deconstructive piece on lazy B-movie video game exploitation. It may also just be lazy B-movie video game exploitation. It feels genuinely like a film from the 80s and 90s. The protagonist Sarah is trapped in a Mega Drive beat-em-up and has to escape, wielding the power of plot holes, goofy special effects, and tons of hammy acting. There are some times Max Cloud understands video games and narratives expertly, like when the titular Max cheeses a boss to death by abusing its broken pathfinding, or that time the art style reflects a stunning likeness of arcade third-person shooters. But there's also plenty of times it fundamentally contradicts the function and form of video games for cheap cinematic value or overblown, poorly choreographed action sequences. I could talk about how the dialogue captures this weird postmodernist outlook on the early 90s, being full of sardonic wit and self-awareness, but it just as readily lapses back into the same tropes it was mocking. The character motivations are surreal, and the character archetypes themselves are both bog-standard and completely inscrutable. There are genuinely some themes about toxic masculinity here, and how one must overcome the arbitrary boundaries of their gender, but it demonstrates these themes through a trippy, comedic tone-deaf flashback where Max Cloud's dad is upset that his son wants to be a baker, so he sends him to space military camp. All the creative decisions in this film are incredibly bizarre like that. Its lighthearted tone, pandering repetitive dialogue, and Saturday morning villains suggest a target demographic of young kids, but there's also spontaneously some ultraviolence and swearing in here for no particular reason. It's like they were afraid to lose adult appeal, so they threw in some last-ditch blood and sexual comedy. None of that prevented critics from calling it a children's film anyway, though. It's hard to tell what Max Cloud is. Is it even trying to be good? It's so awful that maybe it's intentional how bad it is? I don't know anymore. It's highly memorable and entertaining either way, so you could definitely do worse.